Hi everyone, and welcome to The Shift with me, Mercy Valarie. Hope you've been well, hope God has kept you. And of course, we keep on bringing you videos that only help you in terms of your spiritual maturity, but videos that will enable you to change the lenses through which you view life, through which you view the challenges you're going through, and of course, by the help of God. So I am super excited about today's interview. The gentleman that is with me is going to introduce himself in a short while, but just a little bit about him. He is 2021 Kenya's top 35 under 35. He deals in cybersecurity, and also he's a lead developer in a program called Ajiry. But also he's a Centum Investment Brand Ambassador. But above all, he's a youth mentor. So I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome Brian Mwau. I mean, you have a lot of accolades on your head. I'm just like...
Thank you very much, Mercy, for having me in your show.
Yes.
I'm grateful, and also I'm grateful to God. And yes, thank you very much. I think there's a lot to say, but... yeah, you take the lead. Let's have this conversation.
Right.
But as she said, my name is Brian. I'm born again. I love Jesus Christ as my personal savior. And yes.
Great. Good to have you once again.
Good to have you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you too.
Okay, great. I'd like you to please tell our viewers, let's just get a background of who Brian is. Of course, I know you didn't get born again when you're born, eh? Just give us a bit of background. Who is Brian? Yes.
Okay, Brian is a young man born in the village in
Which
County, called in Kamba it's called Mavia Meu. That means white stones.
Wow.
So the ambience of the village where I come from afar, you will see some sheep looking like stones.
Okay.
But as you approach them, you find it's actually stones. So, and one big rock, which is white. So that is what led to the name of the village, White Stones, but now in our native language, that is Kikamba, Mavia Meu. So I was born and raised there. Went to a school in Makueni County still, called Vitale Primary School, HGM, Holy Ghost Mission School. You know those schools. I was there for 4 years, then left that school, managed to go to St. Charles Rwanga School in Kitui to do my secondary education. Then after that, now by God's grace, I came officially to Nairobi. And I went to JKUAT current campus. I was there for 4 years. And I did IT, information technology. Graduated in 2016, November. Wow. Then thereafter started my career. I didn't just start my career, definitely. There's a story there because the entire of 2017, there was no stability in my career. I was still, that waiting season where you're trying to do everything. Do I go the politics way? Because also it was an election year. Okay. And, then I managed to get my first internship in 2018, January.
Okay.
But between that 2016 to 2017, it was a transformative year for me because a lot happened. Ever since, I was always a Sunday school child, born in Sunday school, and even going to high school and to university, I was still born again. After I cleared, I joined university. Actually, I joined university. At that time, I was going to Centum Ngong.
Okay.
So I was still, my values in Christ were very much okay until it got to 4th year. The last semester, money came and, life changed. There's some sense of freedom. So I had a dark moment in those, almost a year between November. And that's when now I got into funny things. Those things you're like, do you mean I will never try drinking alcohol? Do I feel like smoking? Do I, that stage of trial, that was my trial time. That's between the age of 20 to 21. But it was for a short time. And I knew that was not my thing. And I transitioned and rededicated my life back to Christ as I was turning 21.
Wow.
And since then, to till date. I'm still testifying of
Amen.
the signs and wonders.
Okay. You
Yes,
haven't
yes.
looked back since then?
Never looked back
Okay,
since then.
good. You know, there's a young person who's watching this, and let's talk a little bit about that dark moment in your life. What were some of those triggers that made you enter into that dark moment, and then what made you come out? Because
Yes.
for you didn't stay there long.
Yeah.
Probably there's somebody who's watching this and they're wondering, will I ever come out of this? You know,
Yes, yes.
how come it was easy for Brian to come out? Was it easy for you to come out? Let's start from there.
Actually, I'll say this is the first time I think I've shared this publicly, because in JKUAT, while in university, I was the academic secretary.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I managed, by God's grace, I got into students leadership while I was 1.2.
Okay.
While I was still a first year on the second semester. So as a student leader, there is a high level of discipline you maintain.
Absolutely. Wow.
Again, you need to understand that you're a leader. Everyone is looking up to you. And I think, I believe that also gave me a sense of discipline in terms
Wow.
of
Yeah.
evading some peer pressure. But while I was on my last year, I felt like, I've been watching my friends having fun. And there are those friends who come and tell me, Brian, if you don't do it now,
Now, yes, when will
it
you
will
ever do
it
it?
will end up coming when you are aging.
Aging, yes.
And
Yeah.
it's better you do it now. And yeah, I was still because again, my dad is in the military. He's no joke. And my mom is a teacher. She's a teacher, very strict. So my parents very strict with discipline.
Okay.
I still stayed with my parents actually, even when I was in campus. Actually, I washed my dad's shirts.
Wow.
And ironed them and polished his shoe until I was in 4th year in the university.
Okay.
So discipline, it was a back-to-back. There was no room to misbehave. But that changed when I moved out from my parents' house, and my dad decided now I think it's time the boys start living alone, and I started living with my brother. So there's some element of freedom that came out of that.
Yeah.
And when freedom, the time now I would spend in the evening having a conversation with my dad, I'm busy having a conversation with a friend.
Yeah.
And the friend is telling me, Brian, are you open to this? And now again, there's no curfew again, because until I was in 4th year, my dad was very strict.
Okay.
In the morning, you can leave anytime, even if it's 5.
Yeah.
But in the evening, by 6 p.m., you have to be in the house.
Wow.
No matter the matter. Whether he's away, whether he's out of the country, whether he's out of Nairobi, you have to be back at home. And he always had a way of telling whether we are in the house, because it will be like, I have my elder brother is called Ian, so he would call me, and then he was like, have a conversation with me, and then he'll say, now can you pass over the phone to Ian, just to make sure that, so he will listen the transition. Is it taking too long? Is it taking too long? And if it's taking too long, that means you guys are not in the house, or someone is not the right place.
Yes.
So, but definitely, boys will always be boys.
Absolutely.
We knew how to have now this conversation, because my brother had a phone. Anytime dad will call, I would miss the call.
Okay.
Then I would call my brother. We get on a conference call. By the time my dad is calling, now we had him to the conference call.
You guys are bright.
So when he says, can you pass over the phone to your brother? He's just there. I'm like, Ian, can you get the phone? And he's just listening. Hello, Dad. Oh, you guys are together, yeah. So during this time is when now I managed to, to start giving a ear to, my friends who are drinking, my friends who are smoking, and now with the school trips, because as a student leader, I remember my first time. Should I share this?
Yes, please share.
Let me share this.
Yes.
My first time to smoke and not cigarettes. We had gone for a retreat, university retreat. As student leader, we normally had that end of year retreat where as a school we are giving back.
Okay.
So this time around we had traveled to Meru to give back, to the community. And we are all leaders, and we are there, it's your fellow leaders, you see them drinking, smoking, and you're like, let me just give it a try.
Yeah.
And I remember that experience wasn't the best. I remember praying a prayer because I just felt like something had changed. I was standing, I felt like I was standing mad, because I would feel even my digestive system. You guys, if you're struggling, your first encounter. And I started praying and I told God, if only you get me out of this, I will never do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, and thereafter definitely didn't work out that way. I got back sober and then I was like, actually I think I like that feeling how I felt.
Yeah.
And let me just try again, and that was, you know, that was the introduction, or rather that was the beginning of this small struggle, short-lived struggle.
Yes, wow.
And again, with the alcohol and all that, definitely you will meet friends, and then you'll be like, you know, these guys. And I always feel, taking a look back, I always felt, you know, when you meet people who are from a well-off family, and you are there, you are from, you know, an average family, but you have a bright future, and you know, it's not all about now. It's not about where you're headed to.
Wow.
I felt that was the biggest, because you would check, you know, this guy is driving, me, I'm being dropped to school. And this person, also in class, he or she is performing, and they're still drinking. Does it mean really this thing is bad? And because of that peer pressure, you just find yourself telling yourself, or let me just try. So that's how I got into alcoholism. I wouldn't call it so. I was there at the age, testing the waters to just know how it was. And towards the end of the university, I also made some good, valuable friends. So we ended up moving from, at that time we were living in Rongai, so we ended up moving from Rongai to Runda. And definitely was my very, very good friend. And from his upbringing, they come from a community that believe alcohol is not something bad. So being in a house where alcohol is readily there, like we have a full bar in the house. I was like, you know, at the end of the day, there's no one who is seeing me. So if I feel like I'll just go and indulge and you know, keep it by myself. But again, I didn't stay there. It's only, by this time I was 19, turning 20. And by the time I was almost turning 21, and this is back in 2018 August. Yes, 2018 August is when I decided, I don't think this is, but I went to the extremes. It's only that I cannot, there's some of the things, if I start sharing here, but I remember I just made a prayer, because that's how it started. But I went to the extremes. I believe there's nothing I didn't use based on that time, because you know, money was at disposal. And when money is at disposal, you meet all sort of people.
Absolutely.
We are driving, you know, we have security guards at that time. So opportunities, the devil will bring the opportunities in us. In a golden platter. I'll not say silver platter. No, he'll bring it in a demonic platter. So they came, and you know, I remember a time when now I realize I've changed, and I realize even I haven't been able to see my parents for like almost a year now, because I felt if I show up in their presence, they don't need to be told. They will see it. Even they don't need to smell. Like my dad will tell, because even at that time I was not shaving. I'd left my hair, I'd left my beard. I was just shaggy. I was not myself. You know, when you're in that struggling, you know, when you meet someone who smokes, you don't need to be told they smoke. When you meet someone who maybe is struggling with drinking, at times they might hide, but you don't need to stay long with them. You just need to stay for a while with them and to know there's something that is missing. So I felt if I appear in the presence of my parents, they would be able to pick that. So for a whole year, almost for a whole year, I was not able to see my dad nor my mom. Anytime they would call, I would tell them I'm okay and I'm doing well. You know, and they were at peace. They were like, if you're doing okay, you just, and I was telling them, Mom, you know, I'm trying to get a job and all that, so I'm not able to come. And wherever I am, I'm just okay. But I felt their prayers really worked, because also my mom has a high discernment. Because it got to a time where anytime I would maybe be under the influence, I'll find myself talking to my mom. And then I'll be on the call, I talk. Then I feel, to some extent, my mom has been quite silent on the phone. Then I'm like, hey boss, nimeanza kuchoma. Then I'm like, I think mama will call you back. Then she's like, but Brian, are you okay? You know, I've been listening to you lately, you are talking a lot. But I think she really prayed at that time. And by August 2018, I'd already made a decision that I need to go back home. I need to live this sort of life that I've started, because it's a fake life. This is not where my destiny is.
I like that.
And
I like that. Wow.
I remember I made that decision, and it was a strict decision. It was serious. The moment I made that decision, I packed my clothes immediately. And this is Runda. I packed my clothes immediately and said, tomorrow, no matter the matter, I'm stepping out of this house.
You know, it reminds me of the prodigal son.
Yes.
Like, he came to his senses. It's like you came to your senses.
I came to my senses. I was like, I think I sat down and I projected my life in 5 years' time. And I couldn't see myself.
Wow.
And that is where it brought me, like, this is not the life I'm chosen for.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel before I met these friends, or rather, friends, it's good to meet friends, but before I got myself into whatever that I gotten myself to, I had a sense of purpose.
I like that.
I had a sense of leadership in me, of vision, you know, clarity. And this time round, it wasn't there. So I packed my clothes and I went to church that evening.
Okay.
I went to church that evening, and I went specifically to JCC in Parklands. And also, I did not mention, at that time I started getting broke. So, you know, being broke and Runa doesn't go together. Doesn't go together.
It's an oxymoron.
Yeah, that time we got there driving. This time around, even affording a motorbike. You know, 50 shillings from, we live in some street. I think it's called Elias Agritis to Gigiri. You need a bike. But now I didn't have a bike, so I have to walk for like 30 minutes so that you get to the stage. So I had only 50 shillings actually that evening. But I said, with these 50 shillings, I'll make it have value. I'll walk to the stage, because my mom had promised to send me bus fare that night. Because also I made sure I called my mom to tell her, tomorrow I'll be coming home, so send me bus fare.
Okay.
So, you know, when that commitment is there, you know, you have accountability. You cannot, it's good when you decide to change, to make up your decision, or rather make up your mind. You just act then.
Absolutely.
Act
Absolutely.
then. So that
decisive,
you have people,
be decisive.
Be decisive, so that also you give people, yourself, or rather, you put yourself in a place where people can be, you are accountable to someone. You're like, Brian, I thought you said you'll do this. How comes you are not decisive? So I left home, I went to JCC. By God's grace, I met two strangers.